In every neighborhood, every workplace, every school, there are people who are working hard, playing by the rules, and still struggling to get by. They are our neighbors, our essential workers, our friends, and they are Alice. We asked several community members to share their stories. This is what they told us.
I was 6 months old when my parents divorced, and this was 1960. Divorces weren't very common in 1960. So my mom and I and my three siblings, who were 7, 10, and 12 at the time, moved into a very small house. She was a teacher, a Phi Ed teacher, but also worked 2 other jobs just to try to get us through.
I made a decision in my career. I decided to try and take a risk. I went into a position that was too heavily commission-based, and I found myself 1 month unable to pay rent, mortgage. I had $50 for groceries. I was late on heat and electricity, and I did not know what I was going to do.
I had to make a lot of really questionable choices going through being a mom at 17. You're in this position of, you're thinking, I gotta get through the next 18 years of this kid's life, and also I gotta get through today till tomorrow.
Getting a divorce, and I suddenly lost my job. Making what I did make, and I had 3 kids at home. I needed to go to Stearns County and apply for some assistance, and that was such a humbling experience. I remember being in the waiting room and like hiding as much as I could, and then finally getting in to the employee's office and just breaking down.
The jobs in small town America were never going to be anything that would support a family of 11. My dad worked, then my dad worked odd jobs, my mom worked, and then she worked odd jobs. So I bet combined, it would not be uncommon that they were working 5 jobs at a time. And that's what you did. There were no big manufacturing plants that you settle in for a lifetime and are able to support a family or anything like that back in rural America back in those days. And if she were to hear the term Alice, I think she would sit right across the table and say, you do what you can to survive, but you still need a hand up. You still need a hand up, and that's where neighbors came in.
My kids always grew up hearing, when they asked for something, well, we need to wait for the next paycheck.
It wasn't that I wasn't working. I was working. I maybe was naive in taking a role that was too commission-based for, was maybe too big of a risk for someone who had a mortgage and was a single parent. But I was working.
Because the money that you make has to go towards bills, and has to go towards a car payment, and has to go towards car insurance, and then sometimes it doesn't go towards car insurance because you can't pay car insurance that month. So then what happens if you don't pay your car insurance every month is then they increase the rent every time you try and go back and get car insurance again. So it's a lot of like, okay, I'm just gonna hope I don't get into an accident, I hope I don't get my car repossessed, a lot of missed payments, just constantly lowering your credit score, which then lowers your ability to go off, and if you do need to move or whatever, every decision that you make, you have to make a financial decision in the moment, but then it has these ripple effects that go and touch every aspect of your life. The only thing I wanted was to pay my bills. That was the only thing I wanted. I wanted to be able to pay car insurance, and I wanted to pay my electric bill, and I wanted to be able to pay rent. And I wanted to be able to do that and have just a little bit of money to be able to say, and now school can start and I can get you guys school supplies and school clothes. And that's it. I wanted to be able to buy my kids the things that they needed. I didn't want to buy them the things that just throwing money away on trash. And to feel like you can hold your head up high.
But as you look back on your life, some 50, 60 years later, you realize what she sacrificed for her family.
The thing about Alice and growing up Alice is you can't quit. You have to keep going forward every day. As difficult as it is, as painful as it is, both mentally, emotionally, you have to, and you have to open your own doors sometimes. You have to ask for help. And don't do that with shame. Don't do that with feelings of remorse. It's there on purpose. And certainly, you're not alone. That's the biggest thing maybe I've learned, is that we, by far, were not the only family that was living this way. You know, we had a house. We had 3 bedrooms. We slept 3 to a room, but we had a house, and it was happy. It was a happy house.
Even if you're not Alice, you're connected to them.
I was a single mom, and there was a period of my life where I wasn't sure how to move forward. It felt impossible. I was Alice.
I'm your coworker, I'm your neighbor, I'm your friend. I was Alice.
I was a teacher, I was a school superintendent, I'm now a CEO, but I grew up Alice.
I was a single mom, and I kept going even when I felt like it was impossible. I was Alice.
I grew up rural. I grew up poor. I grew up in a hardworking family. I grew up Alice.
We are Alice, and we are the thread that holds this community together, because united is the way.